In this video, we're going to talk about order of operations. Now, a lot of people might remember there's a little mnemonic device for how to remember the order of operations. And that is the phrase, "Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally." At least that's the phrase I was taught. And it's the letters in front that are significant. PEMDAS, which most people recognize as PEMDAS. Now, I don't like PEMDAS written this way because it implies a specific order that isn't completely correct. So I like to write PEMDAS this way. PEMDAS. So let's go ahead and talk about why I'm doing it like this and what each one represents. So P is representing parentheses. And that's the first thing we do in order of operations. E is representing exponents. That's the second one. And then you'll notice I paired M and D up. That's because they're technically equal and on the same step. M is for multiply, and D is for divide. And the reason they're the same step is they're actually, it's whichever one comes first, left to right. And this is, by the way, where a lot of people mess up their order of operations. It's this step, step 3. So it's whichever one comes first, left to right. We don't do M first just because it was listed first in PEMDAS. It's multiply or divide. They're equal. It's whichever one comes first, left to right. Same with the next step then. So A is for addition, S is for subtraction. And just like the step before it, it's whichever one comes first, left to right. All right. So let's try using this in some examples and see how we do. So the first example I have here is 20 plus 2 to the 4th minus 12. So in this, we don't have any parentheses. So first step, don't even have to worry about it. We do have an exponent though, right here, 2 to the 4th is an exponent. So first thing I'm going to do is multiply 2 times itself 4 times. That's what 2 to the 4th is. And if you don't know that or have trouble doing that, grab a scientific calculator. We'll work on that real quick. But that does come out to 16. And I'm going to bring everything else down. So that 20 plus 16 and then the minus 12, that's all going to come straight down. And now I don't have any multiplying or dividing. So I'm on to step 4, and I'm going to do the adding and subtracting in order from left to right. And in this case, the addition does come first. So I will start with 20 plus 16, which is 36, and 36 minus 12, that's going to be 24. So there we go. Not too bad. Most people would probably be pretty comfortable with that. All right, let's try the next one. So this one is 36 divided by 4 times 3. So again, no parentheses, no exponents either. So we're already down to step 3, and it's multiply or divide. It's whichever one comes first, left to right. So in this case, the division is first. So I'm going to start with 36 divided by 4, which is 9. And then I'm going to bring down the times 3. And 9 times 3 is 27. And there we go. And you would get a very different answer if you did the multiplying first. And it would be incorrect. It's left to right. Okay, so now that we know that, let's try another one. Okay, so this one we have our first parentheses. So exciting. So parentheses means we're going to focus on, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit just so that I can do a little bit better work. We're going to focus on what's inside the parentheses first. So in the parentheses, that's what I'm going to look at first. And I'm going to apply order of operations. So subtraction or multiplication, multiplication has priority. So that's what I'm going to do first. So 6 times 5, that's 30, and I'm going to bring everything down. Don't be lazy with the order of operations. Rewrite it. Okay, and we're not done in the parentheses. We still have some more work to do. So let's keep going. So 9 minus 30, let's see, that's negative 21. And I'm going to keep the parenthesis because the 4 is right next to it. And when it's right next to that, that represents multiplication. So I can use parentheses to also represent multiplication. So I'm going to keep it, but I could rewrite it, by the way. I could have written it as 4 times negative 21. Oops. Minus 10. But see how like weird that looks because it's a negative. So it actually looks better with the parenthesis. Okay, so 4 times negative 21, that's negative 84. Minus 10, that's negative 94. So exciting. Okay, let's try another one. Ooh, this time we got a lot going on. So we've got some brackets and parentheses and exponents. There's a lot. Okay, so starting with parentheses. And the first set of parentheses I see is on the -6. But this parenthesis, there's nothing to do inside the parenthesis. So this is actually going to jump down to step 2. It's an exponent. They put the parenthesis there to emphasize that it's a negative number. So we're going to jump to the other parentheses. Now, bracket is a set of parentheses. So I'm going to look at this bracket here. And inside the bracket, I'm going to do order of operations, which means I'm going to look at this parenthesis right here. So that's where I'm going to start. 7 minus 8, which is -1. I'm going to hang on to that parenthesis because there's a 5 out there next to it. So that's going to be multiplication. Rewrite the bracket and then the 3 and the minus and the -6 squared. Wow. Okay. Still a lot to do, but we're not done in the brackets. So now we're into the bracket, and this time focusing in on the parenthesis in this case is not a parenthesis anymore. It's now meaning multiplication. So that does have priority though over the plus. So 5 times -1 is -5 plus 2 bracket -3 and -6 squared. Okay, still not done inside the bracket. We still have one more step. So 2 plus -5 is -3. Now, I can leave it as a bracket, but I'm going to go ahead and write it as a parenthesis because that 3 is right next to it. Don't need the bracket anymore. It's just a fancy parenthesis to help tell the difference between the other parenthesis. So I'm going to leave it as a parenthesis because that's multiplying. We're going to multiply those two. Okay, but now I'm finally done with the bracket. So now I could go ahead and do the exponent. So -6 squared, that's -6 times -6, which is positive 36, right? Negative times a negative is a positive. And then I'm going to multiply. So now I'm going to multiply first. That has priority over the subtraction. So I'm going to multiply this 3 times -3. Both of them are negative. I could treat this as a -3, and those two negatives become a positive. So 36 plus 9, 45. Yay. So there you go. Order of operations. That is the basics. And now you're ready to go ahead and work.